Outside my window the snow is falling. Here inside this heart of mine I can hear a child cry. I'm reaching for a memory that's faint yet calling, beckoning me back to heal a pain I can't deny.
I was the only native guy at the public school, and I was always acting out in class. Just a lot of anger and a lot of rage at the world. I couldn't understand why I was so angry and mad. And the teachers, I remember the teachers just shaking their heads, we don't know what's wrong with him.
By the time Barry came to us at age 10 going on 11, he had been in about 11 different homes. And we would have thrown him out for drinking and lying when he was 16, except he hadn't a clue on how to exist.
He's in company with many, many other people his age. That era, was coined as the 60s scoop. The idea was to adopt the native child population to non-native families, if possible. What we know now about that era is that it was cultural genocide.
Look away as you're leaving. Look away as you go. Look away as you're leaving to go down the red road. To go down the red road.
Hello. Who am I speaking to? It's Barry calling. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Is Darlene there, please?
Wait.
My name is Barry Hambly. The person I'm about to speak with is a stranger in my life. Her name is Darlene Whitecap. She's a First Nations woman living on a reserve in Saskatchewan. Darlene is also my birth mother.
Hello?
Hello? Hi.
Alright.
Hi, it's me. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good. How you feeling?
I don't know.
Feeling better?
I'm planning a trip to visit her soon. It'll be the first time that I've seen her since I was 5 years old.
I'll give you a call on Thursday when I arrive. How's that
Yeah.
sound? All right.
Okay.
Because I am going this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever
When you
happens.
come to the reserve, you have to come down to reality and see how we live.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
You live in the third world.
Don't even worry about that because I don't even care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I'll just give you a call Thursday when I land, and I'm gonna make arrangements with Trevor and Lauren to make sure that they pick me up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mom?
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay, safe journey.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I've always been interested in trying to find my parents. I was going to go work in the U.S. with the Bricklayers Union. So in order to work there, I needed to get my U.S. citizenship. And one of the parts of the documentation was a long-form birth certificate that I had to get from the band office. And then I had asked them, I said, listen, do you know Darlene Whitecap? And they said, oh yes, we know her very well. She comes in about once a week. I went, oh really? That's how I got in touch with her initially.
When you talked to Mom about this project, did she sound like she'd be interested in us speaking to her?
Not really. She just seems a bit shy about it. You know, I know she's saying, well, I'm still trying to heal and this and that and the other, but, you know. I'll say this. She's still trying to heal, but she's never going to heal if she doesn't talk to me or she doesn't talk to Lionel, as far as I'm concerned. And she has to do that at least whether it's in private or whether there's cameras around or not, she still has to come to grips with us. Even though I say yes, I've forgiven her for most of the things, there is still a little bit of anger there. I think there always will be.
My birth father was Leslie Purdy-Shield.
He was pretty much non-existent, as far as I remember. Michael and I remember being around maybe once or twice. That was it. He drove, I think, an El Camino, I think. And I've never liked that car. I never have. I remember the first day I saw it as a kid, I go, oh, this is one ugly car. So.
We were young when we moved off to the reserve and into Regina with Darlene.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really remember being with her too often. She'd come home in the evening, and then she said she had to leave again, and we were like, there's all of us. Lauren, Kelly, Lionel, myself, and we were just screaming at her and yelling at her like we're only like 4 and 5 and whatever it is, and begging her not to leave. And she said, well, she was just going off to the store, to whatever, but we didn't believe her. And, I don't remember if she ever came back. That was a not so good memory of her, anyway. I think that was probably one of the times when that was it. I think that did it for me right then and there. That's when I started blaming her for everything. It was a man and a woman. I guess they were obviously from social services, and I guess somebody had called because they realized at that time then that we were running wild and whatever. I think we'd almost burnt the house down, as a matter of fact, playing with paper and the stove and whatnot. I remember we were doing something like that anyway. So anyway, I ended up calling the Children's Aid Society and whatever, and so then they came by and they picked us up. They took us to one home, I think, where we stayed for a while, for a couple of weeks for sure. And then from there, that's when they split us up. So they gave the 2 oldest ones went somewhere, and Lionel and myself, we went somewhere else. Yeah, we were close. And he's the one that we haven't quite located yet, so we're still looking. He could be anywhere, really.
I had always wanted a large family, and my husband was the only one that took me up on the dare of 6 kids. So we managed to have Vicky, and then after about 2.5 years after I had Vicky, nothing else was happening, so off to Children's Aid. When the social worker had asked my husband, will you take a non-white kid? And I was expecting him to say no, and he said, no, that'll be fine. We just wanted to give a home to a kid, you know.
Hi, Mom. How are
Oh,
you?
hi. Nice to see you. Good. I think you've turned up just in time. I've got some things to move.
Oh, okay.
I've put in, actually, a couple of cowslips. Can you pick up the watering can?
Okay.
And we'll go round. We went to Queen's Park one day, and they said, come along, we're showing on slides kids that are difficult to place across Canada. And I think that's when we first saw pictures of Barry, because they were having trouble placing him. I think his brother had already been placed, his younger brother by then. His 2 older brothers were deemed not suitable for placement due to emotional problems.
I've been usually the one that's been making the initiatives as far as phone calls and stuff like that are concerned. Nobody has really, I think about it, the 4 years I may have gotten, say, 5 or 6 phone calls at the most. I have to meet her sooner or later. Rather sooner now than get that part over with and then get on maybe with getting to know her. I feel good about it, but I feel a little, starting to get butterflies in my stomach just sort of thinking about even talking with her. I was starting to get butterflies and going like, wow. So it's because it's getting closer now, and it's sort of put it off, but now that I've told her, now it's going to be real. And now I'm going to be like, I probably won't be able to sleep until the airplane. So. Okay, we'll do the cheers. Yeah, cheers. Oh, pretend. Yeah, this is good.
It's been more than 30 years since I left Saskatchewan for my adoptive home here. Left behind was an Aboriginal heritage and some haunting foster care experiences.
The day that my mom and dad picked me up from the airport, I remember coming up the hill and just sort of looking at the whole area. It was just buildings after buildings after buildings, and I just couldn't believe it. Things, I guess, at that age, things are just happening so fast and so quick, and you're jumping on a plane for the first time, that sort of freaked me out a little bit, and then landing, coming here, and then seeing a whole bunch of things. It was overwhelming, is what it was, I think. So it took a while for everything really to sink in.
Okay, I think the tea's just about ready. Kettle's boiled.
My life with my adoptive family was great. They're a very British family, very cultured. A friend of mine's father always said to me, he goes, "You're one lucky person." Maybe luck was on my side, as opposed to a lot of other kids that may have gone through, like my brother Lauren and Kelly, they've gone through the same system, but they weren't as fortunate to have a solid family backing. But yeah, so I say that, yeah, we're one of the lucky ones. 100% positive about that. There's always something going on. We've always had a piano in the house. We took lessons. My dad was always into all kinds of hobbies. I was involved with Scouts, Vicky was involved with Guides. My dad always encouraged a lot of things if we were interested in things and stuff like that. But I was still, at the same time, a bit of a nutcase.
Barry was often moved around because he was a bedwetter, and every time he got to be a bedwetter in a foster home, they wanted to get rid of him. So that accounted for a lot of the times he went into a foster home and then was returned to Children's Aid.
I'd say there's probably been maybe between 7 and 10 foster homes, something like that. It was just one right after the other. It was just, you'd stay at one maybe for 4 or 5 months, and then take you to another one for maybe a year and a half or two, and it was steady like that. Like, it was always like that. For the most part, most of them were actually pretty good. There was one family which was very harsh on us. They had done things to us that were, the physical abuse and stuff like that. It wasn't sexual, it was just physical abuse, and it was terrible. Like, it was hard on us, and what was even harder was the fact that it was another Native family, and which I guess we really couldn't understand why. We used to have to sit in the corner for hours and hours and hours, and while we're sitting in this corner, like for 12, 14 hours, then we'd just sit back and we just start rocking back and forth because there's nothing for us to do. We're just looking at a corner, and you couldn't look left to the right. You weren't allowed to look around. You just had to look in this corner. They used to tie a rope around our waist, and then they'd make us run back and forth on on their back trail. This was on a farm. It's one of these tractor trails or whatever. And then they'd hit us with an extension cord and leave marks. Like, I still have marks. I still have a couple of marks. They're still a bit visible today. They used to do that to Lionel and myself. Did that on a number of occasions. So I remember holding him. The one night he was bleeding so bad that I was just holding him. I was trying to comfort him, and whew, okay.
The only images he might carry to this day of being a Dakota is not good. It's related to pain. So whether it's through his mom and his memories there, or through the one that it would have been a Native person that would have abused him, would have set off probably some deep-seated resentment towards his Dakota heritage.
If we touched him initially, his body would just go rigid. So he's not somebody that I have a close physical contact with. It wasn't until some years later that we heard he'd been physically abused. At that time, there was no hint of the trouble he was going to be when he went through his teenage years, which I think he found very difficult. And we certainly did. My husband was a champion winemaker. We had loads of wine downstairs, and Barry would take it to school and share it with his friends at the bottom of the playground. And Barry wouldn't stop. I mean, the things that would happen in a 2-week period in most households wouldn't happen in a 5-year period. We did not want to get rid of him, but we wanted coping skills. There was some sort of child and adolescent service, and they had nothing to offer. So we just sort of automatically went to what I call Mother Bear mode. And we did a lot of tough love with Barry. We hung on until he was 18, and then he just was doing too much lying and drinking, and he took the car without permission and lied about it. So off he went. So I said to him, "That's it, Barry, off you go." I said, "Have your bags packed, and when I come back from work, then I will take you down to the mission. They will tell you how to cope and tie you in with whatever monies you need."
It was tough. I really didn't know what to do. Whether to stay in school or whatever. And I knew I needed a job at the time, so I took what the first opportunity I could find to get one. That's how I ended up bricklaying. When you got to survive and stuff like that, you got two choices: to stay in school and starve, or work and get a living. That's what I did instead. It was all right. Worked out anyway.
This lovely comment came out years later. He said, "If you hadn't thrown me out, I would never have straightened up." Well, I'm glad you came over. He doesn't seem to have held grudges against me, and I said I've been Mother Bear Mum. I've cuffed him regularly when he was younger, when he needed to be. And it seemed to work. Give me a call when you get back.
Yeah, we'll do.
Come and visit and tell us. Maybe the good things outweigh the bad things. Bye-bye.
I hope that now as an adult, finally meeting my birth mother, I can heal a void I felt throughout my life.
Not knowing anything about what it means to be a Mohawk or what it means to be a Dakota is the end product of an assimilation policy that has just only recently been revised. In many ways, he fits the generation that you now see before you, which is not having a language or a culture. Whether it was through the 60s scoop, residential schools, or simply the idea that your parents had to not teach you anything because you would be discriminated against. Coming to terms with memories and mothers that you might not feel connected to. Like I was in a similar situation myself, and it's a very difficult personal choice, but it's not an easy journey, I don't think, for anyone.
Lauren said where we used to live is all gone, but no. I'm not sure.
Before heading to the reserve, I called my brother Lorne, who happens to live in Regina near our old childhood home. I just want to see this house because the one thing I remember distinctly about this house is falling off the porch roof when I was like 5 or 6. That was weird. I don't know how I survived it. I couldn't breathe, I think, for the longest time. And I got up and walked away. It was cool. I think we used to play on the train tracks, too, as a kid. And I think I remember Kelly somehow getting caught up in the tracks, but I can't remember where. Seeing one of my brothers and meeting a half-brother after this long time, I thought would help put the pieces together. Hey! How's it going? Good, how are you?
Good.
Hold on here. Oop, almost lost something here. Hey! Lord. Good, how are you, buddy? Good. Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, you say, hey, you're sneaking up on me.
Get me!
What? Oh.
That's girlfriend. Hello?
That's girlfriend.
Yeah, this is hello. I'm gonna be on TV. There's a whole bunch of camera people here. And they're watching us on camera. And we're gonna be on America's Most Wanted.
No. No. We're not going to be America's Most Wanted. I was just kidding.
It was almost like it was just meeting a stranger. Even though I knew he was my brother, do we have any memories together? We have some memories from way back, but very faint memories. So. Trevor I've never met. He's my half-brother on my father's side. So, once again, it was just meeting a complete stranger.
The last time I remember seeing this guy here was just a grasshopper.
Yeah. I was 9 or 10. No, 8. I was 8. Then.
Okay.
No, I was 9.
How old were you?
No, I was 9. I was 9 years old. That's when we went to Louise's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I turned 10 on 77.
It was a good damn 30 years anyway.
Yeah, that's right, eh? Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
Yeah.
A long time. What?
Can you see all of us? Yeah.
The Trans-Canada Highway east out of Regina. Tomorrow's reunion with Darlene is the only thing on my mind. Being a victim, I guess I've never thought of myself that way. I try to make the best of the tools that are available to me to live a decent life and a comfortable life. If I keep dwelling on the past, I'll never move ahead, like not just mentally, or that you won't move ahead spiritually. And I'm not one to keep crying over things. You have to move on.
Many people know the Nakota as Assiniboine. The word Nakota means the friendly people. He's got a lot of relatives here. And many of his relatives are going to want to get to know him after all these years.
Feels good. Feels really good. I like it. I remember doing that as a kid. See, these piles of wood where they clear, or they try to attempt to clear the lands. I can see why the government gave him this land. There's really not much as far as fields. There's hardly any fields around here. It was on my mother's side that the Whitecaps come up from the Dakotas, I guess from Chief Sitting Bull or whatever. They ended up going to Cypress Hills or something first, and then from Cypress Hills they settled up in, I guess, where they are right now.
Battle of Little Bighorn. It brought a lot of the Sioux into Canada. So with all the gathering of all these First Nations in the Cypress Hills, this worried the government, and they didn't want to have too many people, too many First Nations in one area at one time. Now, they had a cart drawn by horses, and that cart had food on it. So they had to follow that food or go hungry. And they were brought here into they call this Skull Mountain. This was a burial grounds of an enemy tribe. And so our people know that you're not even supposed to walk into another tribe's burial grounds. You're supposed to respect that. But yet this was where our reserve was surveyed. This is where we were supposed to live. It was a place of death.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good?
Good. I'm on my way over there. So what I'm going to do, I think I know where you're at, but I'm probably going to get lost. So I'll probably be calling you back in a few minutes. I'm getting lost like crazy here.
Just come through, and then in the south end of the reserve, that's where your Uncle Jojo and Auntie Babes live.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. There's a trailer in the front, and then they have their houses. Blue house.
I'll be there like in about 10 minutes then.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you then. Okay, bye-bye. Hello, it's Barry again. Do you guys, I'm not sure if I'm in the right spot here, but do you have the white cutlass in the front? Yeah? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm right here. Yeah. I think this is it here. Stepping back over 30 years into the past. Hello. How are you? Good. I finally made it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally, eh?
Yeah, I finally made it. How do I look?
Good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. You know, they had the really old trucks. You see, I don't know where it was. I saw a couple of really old trucks. Instead of letting them sit there and rust, all those parts there, you can put them on eBay and sell them. But he just said, huh?
Her brother-in-law. My brother-in-law? Yeah, that's what he does.
Going up to meet my mom, finally knocking on the door and stuff like that and greeting her, that was pretty intense. I didn't know what to think. I was sort of, Mom, and then I was sort of waiting for a response. She said, oh, hi, how are you? And I went, okay, it's her. I'd never ridden a horse ever prior to that. And they said, oh, just get on him and hang on, he's all right. You just walk to the barn. I said, okay. And then, so they put me on the horse and they slapped his ass. I tried to be outgoing, but at the same time I was feeling a little bit shy and introverted a little bit. I didn't really know what to say, and even to talk to her, I found it difficult because there's such a gap. I don't know, I remember certain things, you know. That was one of the things I remember.
How old were you then?
I must have been 7, 8. I was at this family, the Bali family. They're Hungarian, but they had a farm out near Yorkton, well, about an hour's away from Yorkton, in a little town called Bangor. Do you know where that is?
No.
I had a lot of anger towards her. I haven't spoken to her about any of that. That will come maybe later on. I'll bring that up at some point in time to find out why. I know why, but I think I just really want to hear it from her.
coming up here is where we used to live when Barry was a child, right in here.
Right there or in there?
Around where the road is.
I'm gonna go in here. Whereabouts?
Around here.
I was born and raised here on Carry the Kettle Reserve. My father was in the First World War. I know he fought in Vimy Ridge and all that area. And he married my mother, Olive Whitecap. And my grandmother had come up with Sitting Bull, and they resided down in Standing Buffalo.
Basically, was that what our original house used to look like?
Something like that.
Oh, okay. That's kind of neat.
My mother was sick in the hospital with tuberculosis. And then they'd send me to my grandparents and they'd look after me. And finally they sent me to a residential school at 4 years old. And that's where I grew up. I only came home on summer holidays. It was awful for me when school started. They used to put us in a big truck, like a cattle truck you haul cattle with. We all had to gather at the agent, all the students with their parents, and then they'd put us in this truck and take us back to school, and a lot of them were crying, not wanting to go back to school. I ran away from there 3 times. And when they caught us, they took us up to the principal's office. He'd actually pull our panties down and spank us. But I wouldn't cry. I refused to cry.
A lot of the residential school survivors, particularly the moms, had a really difficult time because they had no skills in mothering. They hadn't been mothered. And they had always been supervised. I mean, you know, I've talked to women who said they'd had no idea of what it is to be held, to be treated like a child. They were treated right away as almost like prisoners. Bells ruled their life, when to get dressed, when to eat, when to line up. So very hardened by the time these women and men came out.
This is where you went to school.
So this is where I went to school. It's called the day school. And,
I was 14 years old. My brothers and sisters and I, we begged our parents that we could go stay on reserve and come to the day school here on Carry the Kettle.
Wow.
It was better because we were home with our parents and there was love there. Our parents really cared for us. Yeah. My dad used to help me with my homework.
I don't remember any of this.
I enjoyed it. I quit school when I was in grade 9, and that's when I met Barry's father. So I was pretty young.
hopefully this road's open that goes to the South Cemetery where you're...
Oh, okay, we'll go there. All right, we'll go there first.
My father passed on when I was 15 years old. And after that, my mother was sickly. She went into the hospital. And that's where she passed on. She had cancer.
Now, is this where most of our family is buried up here, or is there like...
On your dad's side, most of them are up here.
So from there, I think life just went downhill for me. I really don't know what happened to all of us. We just up and left a reserve. I left a reserve in 1970. I had 4 boys, and Lauren was the oldest, Kelly, Barry, and Lionel. Oh, we went to Regina. I applied for a house, and I have my children put to school there and lived on welfare. I think everything got to me and I started drinking maybe. I don't know the rest because the names. Yeah, usually there's names. And there's
What's that up there? What's that up there?
After that, my children had, when they had taken me away, that's when I really went to alcohol. After that, I couldn't forget that day that they took them away. I had some friends and relatives. I went to them and I stayed with them. And I drank and drank to forget, but that memory was always there. Drink to forget, but you never do forget. Yeah.
I think just seeing her has helped a lot, a tremendous amount. As far as forgiveness, yeah, but I think there still has to be a lot of explaining to do and stuff like that. I would like to get something out of my father, if I could, to see what his side of the story is. So after, okay, are you going to stay here now?
Yeah, I'll stay here for a little while.
Okay, because I think I'll come back here anyway.
They're not gone yet, so.
What do you want to do this weekend?
I haven't thought about anything yet.
No? No definite plans yet?
No.
We just sort of play by ear? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going into Wolseley right now. This is where I was born. And ironically, this is where my dad is staying right now, somewhere in an old age home. So I'm going to try and look for that right now. It took me a long time actually to talk to my father. I called him up a couple of times. They just hung the phone up on me. And I was just like swearing in person. I was just going, you know, like, who do you think you are hanging up the phone on me? I'm trying to contact you. So I said to him, in order to convince him the third time, I said, okay, listen, I'm not going to talk about the past. I'm not going to blame you for anything. I just want to talk to you and hear your voice. Hello. So he gave me time. He gave me about 15 minutes or whatever. Morning, how are you? That was kind of, sort of iffy. You know, I've never really met him. I couldn't even remember what he looked like at all, ever. Oh, it went pretty good.
Yeah.
That went really well. And a few words, but he looks all right. Everybody was telling me he's a little spaced out or whatever, but he's fine. He's very coherent. How's things here? Do you like it here or no?
Yeah. Okay.
Would you rather be back home doing stuff or he was probably in a bit of a shock just to see me there. But yeah, I think it went really good. I didn't know what to expect, and he's bigger than I thought he would be. Older than I realized. He's like 74 years old, and it's a good place for him, I guess. He has everything here. Seems nice. So I said I'd probably come by later on, come see him again, and we'll see what happens. You know.
What was his initial reaction when he saw you?
Actually, I said hi to him, and I walked right by him because I wanted to go talk to the nurse.
Morning.
Morning, how are you? So it was the first person I saw walking into the hospital. I'm happy with that. I'm glad I came to see him. So now I know who he is. I can put a face to the name. So okay. Back at the reserve that night, I stopped in to see Mom Darlene at her own house. I left very disappointed. There's things that are going on in that house that really I don't approve of at all. Just fall down, absolutely crazy drunk, and not on my mom's side, but on the other adults and stuff like that. I did see some changes in reserve life while I was here. Yet, I often found the past closing in. I didn't come here to see people drink and get drunk and stuff like that. That was not what I came here for. I didn't want that around me when I came here, because that was one of the reasons why. That was the main reason why the family split up, was because of the alcohol abuse and whatever. And it just seems to me it's a never-ending story around here. It's on and on and on, and like 30 years later, it's still the same thing. Only it's just a different generation of people. It pissed me off, really, more than anything.
I quit drinking. I knew it wasn't for me anyway. I went back to my culture, which helped me very much to let go of that past. It's past and gone, done with. Leave it be, not to look back.
She's tried to come to grips with herself, I suppose, and she's doing a really good job. But I think the one thing she does need around her is that type of environment. You know, I guess when she still works, and when you get that other bunch that's there and they're partying or whatever they're doing, she can't get any proper sleep or anything else like that, and things that she really needs. She looks almost run down and not very optimistic, I guess. I'd like to give her a break and maybe have her fly her down to come visit me or something, just to get away from that environment for a while.
It is a big step for me today because I've never talked this to anyone. We just, those of us that went to school, like we'd hash about it, talk about it. But to talk to a stranger about it, it's different. Feels a little better. Mm-hmm. Inside. Yeah.
My life's journey has taken me down the path of assimilation, yet First Nation blood remains a part of me. I learned the word waka, which means connecting to that mysterious place in search of one's origins. I've only just begun to walk that road, the Red Road. What I was wondering a little about that list, because one thing I'm interested in is our family tree. Like where do I stand? That family tree is what I was wondering about. Where am I? I'm very interested in the history of the community, because that really would be more of a discovery of myself, I think, and who I am, who the family is, and it'll really help me even to understand Mom a little even more.
Each of us have an Indian name.
Okay, well nobody's told me mine.
No. But anyway, yeah, this is your great-grandparents on your mother's side.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Yeah.
And this is Eliza. Her maiden name was Tawiaka.
Tawiaka. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of hard to squeeze everything in the limited time that we're here to try and figure everything out. I'm going to try to come back around springtime. Evie.
Hello.
Barry.
Glad to meet you. Thank you very much, Barry, for coming into my place this afternoon. I know your mother very well. She's got a lot of strength, and I'm pretty sure she's going to use all that strength to show you how much she really cares. And what you're doing is a big step.
I'd always blamed her for everything, for absolutely everything. Probably if my real parents had a better chance out there, would have made a great difference in all of our lives.
He has a lot to think about. I know. But I'll phone and ask him what he thinks when he gets home.
I'm still back east, because I know everybody there, and I don't know anybody here. So it would take time, it would take a long time was really to call us home. That's the truth.
As the long shadows yield to the morning sunshine, I'll be heading east, back to where I belong. I sift through the haze of a broken time. Now my mind can separate right from wrong. Look away as you're leaving. Look away as you go. Look away as you're leaving to go down the red road. To go down